Wait a minute. Why do you want that beer so bad?
Because he's thirsty, dummy.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Bill here with Scott as usual. Scott, what do you got us drinking here?
Beer.
Beer?
I don't know what kind. This is a gift from brother Tim. He gave us some podcast fuel.
This is going to be a great show. Thank you, brother Tim.
Yeah, I rolled in and I was like, you know what? I didn't prepare a story for this show, but I got the next best thing. A backpack full of beer.
Yeah, when you walked in, I was going to say, hey, I don't feel like doing this today. And then I saw the beer and I went, whoa, let's get down there and record.
Hey now.
I love this. Is a hazy IPA. That is my favorite of all the beer. Hazy IPA. Put that on like a nitro or a cask, and I'm even happier.
This is called Spelt Check. Spelt Check. With a cryo hop in it. I don't know the brewery, but that's what this is.
All right. Well, thank you, brother Tim.
Always open to donations.
We got a pretty good show. I got a surprise game. Bunch of news stories. Got some mailbag and some fuck-upperies. So you don't got to worry. I got everything taken care of
I don't like
today.
the sound of that fuck-upperies, though. That's not sounding good.
You don't like
think
it?
That's going to bode well for me.
Why you? How do you know it's you?
I just feel like it is.
It is.
You'd think mathematically it'd be a 50-50 shot, but the fact that you're bringing it, more like a 70-30 coming my way.
I always love every episode. I'm like, how do you remember all this? How do you, like, you got the better memory. You remember most things, so you put more information out there. The odds of you being right all the time are not, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So it's a numbers thing. By putting out more knowledge, it's more likely you're going to get a fuck up.
Fair enough. All right. Keep it quiet. I get what you're saying.
Maybe that's where we should start.
Let's do it.
Let's just jump right in.
You know, I came in here with like a really good mood. We drove down here just listening to Bob Marley singing along, and now I'm going to get shit on. That's life, man. Ups and downs, you know?
I'm going to shit all over that.
Okay.
So this one came from guess who?
I'm going to guess either Sister Michelle or Brother Dan.
No, Brother Steve.
Brother Steve. Okay, that was the third. Okay.
Brother Steve, he must listen. He's the first person to listen to our podcast every time it comes out. And he sends me, hey, here's what here's what we got wrong. Here's what I know. He's got to get onto the show some more. In fact, we were talking about doing a game between him and you because you guys know the most useless stuff.
It's true. It's true.
I want to see who knows the most useless stuff.
And before we get into the fuck-uppery, let me just say, the idea of fuck-upperies was always like, hey guys, have fun listening to the show and let us know if we got anything wrong. The nature of this was never, hey guys, listen to the show specifically to tell us how much we fucked up. That's not the spirit of it.
No, I know, but it's still so much fun.
It is, I know. All right, let's bring it.
All right, Steve says, since it's Star Wars related, I have to point it out. When talking about the de-aged Mark Hamill and Grogu having to choose lightsaber or Mandalorian armor, Scott called it Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3 or something. The scene was from Book of Boba Fett.
That's even worse because it was like not even carried over into the actual third season or second season of Mandalorian.
When he wrote this, I was like, Steve, I think you're wrong.
He's probably right because there was that 2-episode arc in Book of Boba Fett because, again, Star Wars Jesus had to come in and save a fucking struggling series.
Star Wars Jesus.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
I stand by that. That was absolutely true. I got the wrong series. I'll own that. But that's even worse then. That builds my point even more that the idea of introducing DH Mark Hamill at the end of that, whatever the fuck it was, or was that the Book of Boba Fett?
Well, that's what he says. Yeah, it was Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, I thought when he had to choose, it was the Book of Boba Fett.
All that shit just meshes together for me.
It was the end of the Mandalorian season where he handed him over to the DH Mark Hamill. And then he had to make that choice in Book of Boba Fett, episode 6, wherever the fuck it was.
I'm trying to remember the story there. So they did a bunch of Mandalorians, and then Boba Fett went off the rails, and then suddenly there's 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in Boba Fett, which they inserted because something was just going wrong.
It just totally focused on Din Djarin and going to... I think you had a fucking Naboo starfighter at that point, too.
Oh, yeah. And then it turned out that was the episodes that came on Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Were supposed to be
the first 2 of that next season, but they brought it up into Book of Boba Fett because it was...
Man, Disney has been on their heels for years. I forgot all about how much of a train wreck that was.
Yeah.
I've got some Disney train wreck stories in the news today.
Well, listen, if I had to get something wrong about Star Wars, I'm glad it was about some half-ass cockeyed series and not about one of the movies.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you got even close is better than I did. I can't tell any of those shows apart anymore.
Furthermore, in being corrected that I was wrong, Steve actually proves my point even more, which was there was no ramifications of bringing in D.H. Mark Hamill for the entire Mandalorian plot.
Yeah, we talked about that last episode, how these things do not have a purpose other than fan service, and that, I guess, was fan service.
Not a fuck-uppery, but a critique I have of a stream of thought you had last episode. In listening in playback, just driving to work the other day, and kind of what brought us to this whole conversation and me bringing up the D.H. Mark Hamill, you were talking about how much you really would have liked to see the original 6 Avengers as cameos in the Deadpool movie, Deadpool 3, Deadpool Wolverine, I guess. I said, no, that just would have been fan service, much like this D.H. Mark Hamill thing. And you said, no, if they would have written it right. And I don't know why I didn't think of it at the time during the conversation, but they barely wrote anything. So how in the fuck would they have written that right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
If they had spent all that money and got all those characters back, the way that movie went, I'm sure having all the Avengers wouldn't have changed the plot or the story in any way.
Do you know how I think that writing room went? They wrote a list of people they wanted to get in the movie. That was the only writing that they did in the writing room.
Shit, you might be right. Yeah.
It's all cameos.
They just smoked joints and laughed and laughed and laughed. And at the end, they're like, whoa, that was a great smoke sesh. So what's our story? Well, we didn't really get a good story, but we got a great hour of stand-up, or 2 hours of stand-up.
This says Chris Evans. Okay, well, we can work with that.
It was a funny movie.
It was good, yeah. Still, again, C+, 7.8 out of 10.
I really liked how we played last week the game where the news story was a original character was supposed to pick up Thor's hammer. Who was it? Amy was on. She said it was
Nice Pool.
Nice Pool.
That was her guess.
I thought that was great. And you got it right away. You said Peter. And I'm like, God damn it. He got it right away.
I just knew that it was going to be something fucking stupid. And you couldn't have got dumber than that.
I got to give it to Amy. Nice Pool was a pretty
good guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nice Pool, did you see a story came out that Nice Pool was not played by Ryan Reynolds?
But it was. What do you mean?
Apparently in the credits, for those that stayed for the credits, Nice Pool was credited as being played by not Ryan Reynolds, but Gordon Reynolds.
Who's Gordon? Huh?
Yeah.
Is that Ryan Reynolds' real name?
No. Apparently, through years of GQ interviews or something, Gordon Reynolds is a completely fake evil twin that Ryan Reynolds made up that comes on interviews and makes fun of Ryan Reynolds. So clearly it was Ryan Reynolds that played this fictitious character of Nice Pool, but in the credits he credited not himself, but Gordon Reynolds, who he then killed.
Oh, that's funny.
So that's like a really meta Easter egg that they put in there.
That is funny.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. I didn't sit there and read all the names. Those names fly by so fast. I catch like the first 4, and then I'm just like, all right, I'm overwhelmed.
I was too busy texting you to see if there even was a post-credit scene. And then it just kept going, and I was like, is this payback because of the whole Rick Moranis thing after Ghostbusters?
That was funny. But you know what's funny? You bring it up that Gordon, I almost said Gordon Ramsay. The Gordon thing, and I asked you, is that Ryan Reynolds' real name?
Yeah.
Our surprise game today is related to that.
Oh, like artists that have fictitious names?
I am going to be reading a bunch of celebrity real names, and you have to tell me who the celebrities are.
All right.
You ready to jump in?
I want to add another thing. Is the real name better than the stage name? I'll throw my opinion on that too.
I like it. All right. We can dive right in if you're ready.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Some of these are going to be gimmies. Some of these are going to be ridiculously hard.
I know some of these are going to be ones where you're just going to be like, I can't believe you don't know this. And I'm probably just going to botch it.
I'll skip some of these easy ones like William Bradley Pitt.
Well, that's Brad Pitt.
Right. So let's go into something a little harder. How about Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanotta?
That's Lady Gaga.
How did you fucking know that?
I just know her name was Stephanie.
Her name is Stephanie.
I knew that.
How'd you know that?
I don't know. Stuff. Reading.
That's incredible. We're just getting started here.
So these aren't broken up like easy, hard, medium, anything like that. You're just going off the list.
Just a list.
Okay.
Just a list. It's actually a list of 60, and I'm picking the ones that I think are interesting.
Shit.
All right.
I'm going to need another beer.
Yeah, I do already. All right. Reginald Kenneth Dwight.
Reginald.
Very proper name for a proper Englishman.
Elton John.
Holy shit! How did you do it?
I kind of remember this. Yeah.
That's fucking spooky. All right. How about Norma Jean Mortensen?
Well, that's Marilyn Monroe.
I didn't know her last name was Mortensen.
I just knew Norma Jean.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Morton, it's a good reason to change. Oh, Mortensen, so sexy.
So far, all of these, stage names better.
All right, here's one. Farrokh Bulsara.
This is Freddie Mercury.
How do you know this shit?
Because I knew he was Indian.
Stage name is better.
Stage name is Freddie Mercury. That is a great stage name.
This one you'll never get. Destiny Hope Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus?
Yeah, Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
Destiny. That's a cool name. Wonder why she changed it to Miley.
I heard a story that her dad called her Smiley Miley, and she liked that better, so she had that changed to that.
Are you making that up?
No, I think I've read that someplace.
Smiley Miley.
That was like a nickname he had for her.
How about Alan Stewart Konigsberg? Alan Stewart Konigsberg.
I think you got me on this one.
One of the names in this guy's name made it into his
Tim
stage
Allen.
name. Try again. You're on the right path.
How about the guy from Die Hard?
No, way bigger. Think bigger. Big star.
With Allen in the name?
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
He had a really big controversy.
Really?
Woody.
Oh. It's Woody Allen?
It's Woody Allen.
Oh, yeah. He did have a really big controversy, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
We forget these things. It's like, oh, yeah, that was creepy. How's this guy still, like, in Hollywood? Actually, is he? Does he make any more movies?
So why Woody, I wonder?
Woody. Like, how do you come up with Woody?
I'm thinking it had to be like a nickname that he just went by when he got famous.
Woody Harrelson's not on this list, but I'm wondering if Woody is his real name.
I don't know, but his dad killed people for money.
I know. That's awesome.
Crazy.
And then he had to play Natural Born Killers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably interviewed his dad.
His dad was involved in the Killdozer.
What?
His dad was hired to kill somebody from the Killdozer episode.
You're kidding.
No, he was involved in that.
Did we talk about that? And I'm just forgetting.
I think so. That's how I learned that his dad was a hitman. I'm pretty sure that was a story that I researched for that. But
all right, how about Dimitri?
no, his dad was involved in Cocaine Bear.
How?
His dad was a hitman that was hired by the guy that was the pilot that dropped the cocaine. I guess in the movie it would have been Ray Liotta. Woody Harrelson's dad was actually hired by that guy to go out and kill people that were going to testify against him.
Stop. This can't be true.
Very true. His dad was involved with the Cocaine Bear. Real story, not the bullshit movie where... Because the real Cocaine Bear story was the bear did cocaine and was found dead amongst a pile of cocaine. The bear didn't go on a killing rampage. That was all fictionalized bullshit.
Did you hear that crazy thing with RFK Jr. coming out and saying that he was responsible for the bear in Central Park? Do you remember a long time ago? They found a dead bear in Central Park. This guy just came out of the blue and said, that was me. I put the bear there. It was
he
a
was
prank.
driving down from like Maine or something. He had it in his car and he was eating dinner at like Tavern on the Green. So he like put it out as a prank.
Well, he had to go real fast. And he was like, I can't manage this bear where I'm going. And I'll just leave it here.
He had to catch a flight or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The craziest thing about the story isn't the fact that it happened. The recorded story I saw was him telling the story to Roseanne Barr.
Yes. I saw that same video. That's why I'm bringing it up.
So fucking crazy. Nothing about that story. And he just tells it very matter of fact.
What was that clip?
I have no idea.
I just found it on YouTube. It just kind of came through my feed. Yeah, it's him hanging out with Roseanne Barr telling this story.
So fucking weird.
And I remember the bear story. I remember it from the Stern Show News.
See, I don't remember it, but I thought that the way this was just being aired right now, like he just did this. And I was like, who the fuck is running for president trying to pull a prank like this? And then I heard that it was like years ago that this was found. And I was like, I'd never heard of this before.
Oh my God. This world is so incredible.
He got your vote, doesn't he?
Oh, he does now? I mean,
I'm not getting political, but not a fucking chance.
I do not fit into this world at all anymore. When shit like that happens and everyone's like, no big thing.
Yeah,
like,
that happened.
That's a huge...
That doesn't even crack the top 5 as like weird stories for RFK Jr. during this campaign.
I'm not following a lot of them, so I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You don't.
The world is like a bowl of soup and I'm a fork. I just cannot get a handle on it. All right. Do you know who Demetria Jean Guinness is? Demetria, the female.
Yeah, she's a female, clearly originally from Greece. Give me a clue. When was this person most famous? Present day or going back a few decades?
80s and 90s. And there's a clue in the first name. Demetria.
Demi Moore.
You got it.
Yeah?
Very good.
All right.
How about Ramon Antonio Gerardo Estevez? Ramon Antonio Gerardo Estevez. Oh, I think I'm saying the one name wrong. Not that it's going to help you. Ramon Antonio Gerardo Estevez. Remember Gerardo?
Yeah.
Rico
Suave.
But this ain't Rico Suave.
No, this is definitely a female.
It's a male. Ramon.
Oh, I thought you said Ramona.
Ramon Antonio Gerardo Estevez.
Is this Emilio?
Not Emilio.
This is Charlie Sheen.
Not Charlie.
It's Martin?
It's Martin. Martin
Oh,
Sheen.
I had no idea Martin Sheen was actually Hispanic.
Martin is a Ramon.
I didn't know Martin was Latinx.
Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner.
Sting.
I was hoping you would say Ryan Reynolds. Gordon.
No, Sting, right?
Sting. You got it.
Gordy.
Prince Rogers Nelson.
Willie? Not Willie Nelson?
Not Willie, no. The hint
Is it
in the
Prince?
first name. Yeah, it's
I
Prince.
never knew if we ever knew Prince's real name.
Yeah, Prince Rogers Nelson.
Never heard of that before.
Sometimes you look at these names and you're like, why did you change it? It was fine. Michael Keaton is Michael John Douglas. Like, did it have to be changed to Keaton?
I bet you Michael Douglas changed his name because there was another Michael Douglas.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't think of that. Wow.
Yeah.
Hollywood has 2 Michael Douglases?
I think it's cool that Prince just went by Prince. I didn't think it was as cool when he went by a symbol.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was a whole thing.
How about Terry Jean Bollea?
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
How about Alicia Beth Moore?
So now this is one where I would have guessed Demi Moore, but not the case.
She is...
Alicia Silverstone.
No.
You wouldn't make that up.
Nope. She's from the area. She's a pretty well-known singer.
From the area.
Yeah. My sister went to high school with her. She came to my
Oh,
house.
this is fucking Pink.
Pink, yeah. Alicia.
I didn't know that was her name. Why is she so angry?
I don't know.
Everything, she wants to fight all the time.
Yeah. Well, people from my neighborhood did. Did I ever tell that story on the air, how she used to hang out with my sister?
No, I knew she was from Bucks County.
Yeah. So she went to, they didn't go to school together, but they just hung out together, my sister and her. And they did I think it was like a high school
Like
field hockey game.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know the full story here, but they got into a fight. And then on the field hockey field, Rebecca, my sister, and Alicia just got into it because they were pissed at each other over whatever the hell they were really pissed about. They banged into each other and knocked each other unconscious for about a minute.
They were on the same team?
No, they were against each other.
Oh, it was rival teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was it.
That's funnier.
Sister never saw her again.
Well,
But yeah, she used to come to the house. My sister's friends. I was like, oh, hate all of them.
So you're saying that she's so angry because she has concussion Trauma?
It could have been
She's
because of my
CTE.
sister. Evidently, she was an angel until this happened.
This is like that episode of Always Sunny where Sweet D was like really nice until she like drove into the wall at the fucking roller rink and became like a hardcore bitch.
Yeah. So Alicia was part of, I'll just say it's West, CB West. And my family went to CB East. The East celebrity in my sister's grade was Justin Guarini. Remember that kid?
Oh yeah, he was one of the American Idols.
Yeah. So I remember going to watch my sister graduate, and they were calling for Justin. They're like, Justin, where's Justin? They're doing a shtick.
Oh,
And then Justin comes running in. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late. And starts singing for the crowd. It was like,
fuck that guy.
I remember, too, seeing all the Pink signs around, like, Pink, this, she's from the area. But then I'm listening to them describe Pink, and they're like, from Philly, she was a punk in Philly. I'm like, no, she wasn't. She worked at the Pizza Hut in Doylestown.
Yeah.
But that's how Hollywood works. They sort of create a new backstory for you.
Well, I mean, even Taylor Swift says she was from Philly area and she had horses. And trust me, there's no place she had horses on the property she grew up at in Wyomissing.
Yeah, she's another from our area.
Yeah.
How about Krishna Pandit Banji? Krishna Pandit Banji.
Ooh. I have no idea.
Yeah, this one I never would have gotten. That was Ben Kingsley.
Oh, okay.
Paul David Hewson.
David Hasselhoff.
No, he's not on here. I wonder what his real name is. I hope it's...
You think he made up Hasselhoff?
I think everybody in Hollywood made up a name.
So who's this?
That was Bono.
Oh,
David Hewson.
I never knew we knew his name either.
How about Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Varenberg?
Van Damme?
That is Jean-Claude Van Damme. Don't ask me to say his name again. I don't know how I did it right the first time.
Not so sure you did.
I'm not so sure I did. How about Thomas Cruise Mapother IV?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. His last name is Mapother.
Sure.
All right. Who's this woman? Sherilyn Sarkisian. Sarkisian. Sherilyn Sarkisian.
No idea.
Cher. There you go. Cher.
I never knew we knew Cher's real name.
Yeah, there we go. I'm breaking
What's this
so
list
much
from?
news. AI. So it could be complete bullshit.
Wow.
It could be complete bullshit. Just like everything on the internet. John Francis Bon Jovi Jr.
This is John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, his real last name is Bon Jovi.
I knew that.
So did I. That's like the only one on the list that I do. Bongiovi was the actual spelling of Bon Jovi, but he's like, well, Van Halen did Van Halen. I can't do Bon Jovi. I'll do Bon Jovi.
That's a fairly common Italian last name.
It is?
Yeah, Bon Jovi.
All right, let me see if I can find one more funny one in here. Calvin Cordozar Brodus Jr.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, but it's no Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Varenberg.
All right. Right you are. Calvin. I mean, Calvin Klein's the only thing that comes to mind, but
this one's not connected at all.
Not connected at all.
No.
All right, I have no idea.
Snoop Dogg.
Shit's about to get raped.
You know what? I somehow fucking should have known that. I'm disappointed in myself for not knowing that one.
I can't believe the ones you knew. All right. How about Mark Sinclair?
Mark Sinclair. Give me a clue.
Vin Diesel. I'll just give you the answer.
His name's Mark?
Mark Sinclair. He changes it to Vin Diesel.
I don't have friends. I got family.
I love it. I would be Chuck Smooth.
Max Power. I got it from a blow dryer.
Maximum power, Slink!
That was a great Homer Simpson line.
Max Power, he's the man whose name you'd love to touch, but you mustn't touch.
Well, that's about it. I'll just fly through a whole bunch in here. Jackie Chan is Chan Kong Sang, Emma Watson, Emma Charlotte Durer Watson, Stevie Wonder is Stevland Hardaway Judkins.
I like Stevie Wonder. All these, I think the stage name is a lot better. The name was changed for good reason.
Mila Kunis is Melina Markova Kunis. Jamie Lee Curtis is Jamie Lee Hayden Guest. Wow, Natalie Wood's got a mouthful. Natalia Nikolavanya Zakharenko. I mean, back in the day, like the early days when Hollywood was...
if you had like an ethnic sounding name, you were changing it just so you would get work.
Yeah, you were changing it. Do you remember, too, in the golden era of Hollywood, everybody seemed to have like a slight British accent.
Yeah.
Even Americans had a slight British accent.
Yeah.
So that was a dialect that was put on intentionally in early Hollywood to sound glamorous, to sound sophisticated.
Well, they didn't want to sound like a country bumpkin came rolling off the prairie trying to get work in Hollywood.
Yeah, but I guess they thought Hollywood has to have its own sort of dialect.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Right. I always wondered, too, it's like, why? I guess because movies for us, like it's history books in a way. So when you're watching something from the 30s and 40s, you're like, I wonder why everybody spoke that way in the 30s. They didn't. They only did it in Hollywood.
Well, I was reading a story where if you took people and put them in an isolated location, it would only take a matter of 3 months before their language would start to mimic each other, and you would get more of a dialect or a colloquial like slang or accent, I guess is what you're talking about here.
Oh, I picked that up in days. In days.
I can do it in the course of a telephone call if I'm talking to somebody that has an accent or like, something like a Jersey accent or something like that. Like by the end of the phone call, I am mirroring what they're doing.
Me too. Not the phone call. I'm a little slower, but I remember going to Pittsburgh and coming back and everything is pop.
And yins.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I just picked up an accent from Pittsburgh. When we were in London not too long ago, I started speaking with a British accent.
Hello.
I'd like some tea. I was like, oh my God.
Spot of tea, governor.
I'm feeling we talked about this.
We did. Anytime they use the accent. What's oldies then?
I want to hear a British person's American accent. I want to hear them make fun of us.
You do hear a British person's American accent anytime you see fucking Kate Winslet in a role. She's doing that Philly accent in that one where she plays a detective in Philly.
Yeah, they said it was pretty good.
She's a fucking Delco kid.
Yeah, but she's British.
Yeah.
She pulled that off. Like, I'm always impressed when I watch the Spider-Man movies. That kid, Tom Holland, is British, and you wouldn't know it. And then
well, look at fucking Doctor Strange. He's a British guy.
Yeah, there you go. Another one. But then last night I'm watching St. Vincent. You ever see St. Vincent?
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy. Bill Murray's doing a Boston accent. I think he's from Boston.
Really?
For some reason, or maybe Chicago. Never mind. I don't think he's from Boston.
He's from Chi-Town, I think. Yeah.
So he's doing this Boston accent. Sometimes it's like not bad because usually when you see Bill Murray, he doesn't act. It's Bill Murray and everything. So all of a sudden he's doing this Boston accent. I'm like, okay, I got to get used to this. And then there's times he just doesn't do it at all. Like there's scenes where he just drops the accent altogether, and then there's scenes where it's back.
They call those reshoots.
Oh man, Bill Murray. Holy hell.
Damn. I don't think I ever knew where the Murrays were from.
For some reason, Chicago rings a bell. But are their real names?
They're all Murrays.
You think so?
Yeah. That's why I knew none of these answers were going to be like a fucking Baldwin, because the Baldwins were all Baldwins. And the Murrays are all Murrays.
Yeah.
Well, the Sheens aren't all Sheens, as we learned.
They're all Estevezes.
Yes.
Why didn't Emilio want to go with the Sheen stage name? Why did he keep the Estevez?
Keeps it real.
The others are frauds. All right, well, that wraps that up. But real quick, before we get into our news stories, I told you all that we have that little feature now on Spotify.
The text messages.
Yeah, I think it's actually on all of them. I only ever go to Spotify to kind of spot check our show. But we're on every platform.
Yeah.
And there's a link now for people who want to tap the link. You can send us a text. And that text can say anything. And I asked you guys, I dared you guys to send me some stuff. And I didn't really get a lot.
No dick pics?
No dick pics. No.
Slow week.
Yep. Guys better pick up on the dick pics, all right?
Better chub it up before you snap it.
But I did get this. And I can't figure out what the hell this is. And I'm hoping, and I got a bad memory. I barely remember what we talked about last episode. This came in anonymous. I'm so happy. I just committed a federal crime, but Mr. Bear, Mr. Raccoon, and Mr. Deer are my best buddies now. Someone sent that in. It must be in reference to something we said.
I can guarantee you it's not.
What do you think? I just got spammed? Randomly, somebody texted me some nonsense?
Mr. Bear, Mr. Raccoon, and Mr. Deer
are my best buddies now. I just committed a federal crime, but Mr. Bear and Mr. Raccoon and Mr. Deer are my best buddies now.
Did you Google this phrase to see if anything comes up?
I did. Nothing came up.
Okay.
I'm like, somebody's referencing something we said.
I was going to say, is this from a movie that I don't know? But, wow.
Yeah. All right.
That's fucking weird.
Could be a joke. We don't
been
get.
Like, Mr. Blue, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Pink are my best friends now. Like, now we're talking Reservoir Dogs. Like, now we're talking something.
Yeah.
This is anonymous bullshit.
But I liked it.
Yeah, no, I enjoy this, but how about some context?
Would have helped. Remember,
here's an idea. When you tell a story, try to have a point. It makes it so much more enjoyable for the listener.
Just like movies that have a point. We like points.
That was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, it was really?
Del Griffith, the shower ring curtain guy.
Oh, I just saw that not so long ago. It's such a funny movie.
Such a good movie.
All right, it's time to move into the news.
Oh, right.
Well, story number 1, you sent it to me. Play the music. Phil Donahue. Famous Phil Donahue, the famous talk show host from the 80s. Did he ever make it to the 90s?
I don't know, but when I sent you this story, it was mostly out of shock that he was still alive.
I got to admit, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
He lasted this long. I thought he was gone a long time ago.
And he was, what, 88?
Oh, I don't have that here. I didn't.
Oh, okay. That. Yeah. I was like, damn, I thought this guy kicked a while back.
Forgot how big he was. He was huge. He was bigger than Oprah.
Yeah, no, he really did that whole shock daytime, let's bring him out kind of surprise guest talk show.
But he wasn't Jerry Springer.
No, but he laid the groundwork for that kind of shit to come years later.
I remember like Sally Jesse Raphael was kind of like him.
Yeah. Sally Jesse started bringing out fucking drill sergeants taking kids to boot camp to scare them straight.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a little weird.
Yeah.
I watched an episode of hers not too long ago. It just, I let YouTube just run, and the algorithm just decides what I want to see. And it was a episode of Corey Feldman going on Sally Jesse and talking about, I was molested. Like all the things that we know now about him.
Sure.
And like we actually go Google it. You'll find out who his molesters were. Like the cat's out of the bag.
Well, Corey kept doing that thing where he was going to expose him. And then he would get attention, and then he wouldn't. And then he'd go away for a little bit, and he'd come back, and it would be the same thing. But somebody guessed who it was, like on a message board or something, and he said that they were right.
Right.
But like the whole, like, I'm going to expose, like the whole big expose thing that he was going to do to get, like, garner attention, he never, like, dropped a bomb or anything like that.
Because he couldn't get paid to do it.
Yeah, it was always that's what it kind of seemed disingenuous. It was always for a payday.
He wrote a book. I didn't read the book, but I wonder what he revealed in there. I mean, everything is trying to get paid.
But the book came out after he already confirmed who it was.
Yeah, I don't know. He still does music. Like you can go Google him now and YouTube him now and watch his show. It's ridiculous. It's a train wreck. Most people think that he's being intentionally bananas on stage. Like there's one clip that you'll find on YouTube where he goes to sing and he bangs his face right into the microphone. Like it's so bad watching him perform today.
Is this like performance art? People are thinking.
People are starting to go, wait a minute, this guy's being
like
a performance artist,
off the wall avant-garde bullshit.
Corey Feldman avant-garde bullshit, from what he thinks is interesting. But it is so much fun to watch. People cannot tell if he's just a complete buffoon or if all of this is shtick when he's up there performing.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. They can both be true.
That's true. That's true. But he still dresses like Michael Jackson. He's got that long, greasy hair like Michael did in the 90s. Still going for that look. And the songs are just terrible. But taking it back to Donahue.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Phil.
This is
walked
your
well.
moment.
He
He was one of those dudes that like he was too serious and I was too young, so I didn't watch him.
He would come on, the channel would change.
Yeah. But he's probably the guy who invented daytime talk, as far as I know. Because he
Geraldo was on
biggest.
back then too.
Was he?
But he came on. I
he
mean,
came
he
later.
was later on the scene than Phil. Phil definitely laid the groundwork, like I said.
Then there was Montel Williams.
Oh yeah, I watched me some Montel during high school days.
And he started out like a Donahue. He started out like a Sally Jesse.
Yeah.
They weren't going to sink to the, the Jerry Springer
But
antics.
Springer kept getting all the ratings. And next thing you know, what have we learned today? We've learned that going to trash television really does bring in the ratings. And everybody has a price.
I wonder if that's why Donahue left.
Yeah, he did bow out pretty early. Like, he didn't want to step down to that. Who was the other guy who was on there? Like, Gordon something.
Oh, my God. I remember that Gordon guy. For a minute, that big old guy. He was a British guy. Gordon.
Yeah.
I remember there was Ricky Lake.
Yeah. Jenny Jones. I think Jenny Jones got somebody killed.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. What is that?
I think we talked about it on here before, but Jenny Jones had like you have a secret admirer, and it was the same sex admirer, and the guy killed the admirer.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
We talked about that, like, man, that may have been like episode 2.
Man, there's so much dark stuff in Hollywood.
Shit. This is episode 86. We're coming on 100 episodes, man.
Wow. How long have we been doing this? 18 years?
It feels it. It'll be 2 years in October.
We vow to last longer than Phil Donahue.
R.I.P.
I mean, on the air, Phil Donahue.
Not 88 years. We can catch up now.
All right. Rest in peace, Phil. Does freak me out that all these people are dying. All these people I grew up with.
Yeah, but like when it's somebody that you already thought was dead, it's less jarring.
That's true. Yeah. When Dr. Ruth, when they had, and now she died, I was like, oh, all right.
Okay.
It's not so bad.
All right. Wait a minute.
Not like Paul Rubens. Oh, what?
Paul Rubens, what? Fucking Richard Simmons. That one's one where it's just like, holy shit, Richard Simmons. I knew he was like cuckoo bananas, but he died? That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. I got to be honest. The one that spooked me the most and kind of stuck with me, and I hate to say a celebrity death did stick with me, but it was Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
When Eddie Van Halen died, I was like, whoa, that's surreal.
Yeah, you bring him up a lot.
Well, he's one of my heroes.
I know. But that was a big one.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, if he died, I'm next.
It really made you question your immortality.
Yeah, really, it kind of does.
Shit.
So that new Alien Romulus movie, people are talking about it. Evidently, people like it.
I hear good things.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It looks terrible. It's made by the guy Fede Alvarez. He made that Evil Dead remake. So
yes.
he, and people like that. He's got style. So turned out that this is actually a decent movie. One of the things I heard about it is it has so much fan service. It's just like Ghostbusters, how often they reach back to the aliens well. But people are still into this movie.
Well, the timeline of this movie is it takes place between Alien and Aliens. So this is like fitting in between parts 1 and 2 with Sigourney Weaver.
So evidently what's been going on is some theaters have a quick teaser of the new Aliens Earth.
Oh.
There's a new TV show about aliens.
Like about Aliens, the franchise.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, it's called Alien: Earth, like Alien Romulus, Alien whatever.
Okay.
So it's a new show. Are you into this? Do you want to see aliens on TV?
Where's this airing?
Coming soon to FX is all it says. It doesn't
FX
give you
does
anything
good
else.
series.
Do they? Still?
If this would have said like coming soon to USA Network, I wouldn't have given two shit. FX? Yeah, they did that Shogun show that I was watching.
Oh. I remember they did like The Shield. Nip
Yeah.
Tuck. I haven't
Nip
heard
Tuck.
of FX since then.
They do Always Sunny.
Oh, that's true. Wouldn't it be great if it was new on the Hallmark Channel? It's Aliens Earth.
Yeah, that's my point. I guess USA Network's not really a thing anymore, but the Hallmark Channel. Coming soon to ABC Family.
Did you ever watch that Rhonda Shear Up All Night? You remember that from USA?
Heard of it, but I haven't ever watched it.
That was what I watched. I watched that and Joe Bob Briggs.
Joe Bob.
On my last show when we were doing celebrity interviews, like D-list celebrities, I reached out to Rhonda Shear. She's like, $500. I'm like, listen, do this for free. Nobody else is looking for you. She didn't. I didn't pay her. I mean, what would I even ask her? So were you really up all night? It's gotta suck. But, like washing up celebrity and you're still trying to stay in the game. And
Yeah, wouldn't know.
talk about things from like 35 years ago you barely remember. I was watching interviews with Kevin Bacon. They were all asking him about Friday the 13th. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, it was just a gig. I took it because I was a starving actor. I barely remember anything from it. Like, I know you want dirt, but it was just a gig. It was just a job. I've done so much since then. I barely remember it.
You know what I heard? Here's a throwback to last episode. Speaking of Kevin Bacon, this just reminded me of this. I was reading a story that Kevin Bacon starred, I can't say starred, but was in the unreleasable Toxic Avenger remake.
Really?
Kevin Bacon is in there. Kevin Bacon, Peter Dinklage. There's like big celebrities in that Toxic Avenger remake that is quote unquote unreleasable due to its graphic content.
Huh. Well, they still got paid.
Yeah, no, they got their payday for sure. They're not going hungry.
This isn't one of our stories, but did you see this story floating around from Michael Keaton talking about the Batgirl movie that got deleted?
Yeah, he don't care.
He don't care.
He don't give a shit. He got paid.
He's like, I don't care. Big movie, fun movie, nice check. That's all he said.
That's it.
He doesn't care.
It meant a lot more to that girl that was playing Batgirl than it did to him coming in doing a fucking Batman cameo for a half day of work.
Yeah, that was going to make her like a household name.
You know, unless he was on set smoking cigars for 8 hours like fucking Henry Cavill doing Wolverine.
I still think about him getting sick. I don't know why it keeps popping into my head. And that's another question that I've been thinking about since that last episode. Why did they need him for 8 hours? Why did they need these actors for so long?
Dude, I couldn't answer the question when he brought it up. I was like, that sounds fucking weird. It was like literally a 30-second cameo.
Yeah. 8 hours they had him on the set. Jesus. No wonder these fucking movies cost so much money. I mean, we're at the day now where his wife could have filmed him on the iPhone, sent it over in a text message, and they could have thrown special effects on it and had your cameo done that way. I mean, we're not that far from that point.
You're right.
All right, moving on. So we've been talking about how it's a habit of Hollywood to take these old properties that we grew up on. The show is basically about these old properties that we grew up on, and
Trying to cash in.
some people are trying to cash in. Would you want to go see Happy Gilmore 2?
They're filming this in New Jersey right now. We can go be extras if we wanted.
You knew that, huh?
Yeah.
I just found so it's a Netflix thing. I guess it's part of that big Adam Sandler deal.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore was so good.
They do have fucking Shooter McGavin coming back.
I heard.
What's his name? McDonald?
Yeah, I don't remember his
The
first
actor,
name.
I forget his name. But yeah, at least he's coming back. You know Bob Barker's not coming back. You know Chubbs isn't coming back. R.I.P.
There was a blonde woman. I don't even remember who that was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a movie that we need. Happy Gilmore 2.
Hold on a second. Why would you think that any fucking Adam Sandler movie is sequel is something we need?
Was there ever a
Do
Adam
we
Sandler
need
sequel?
3 fucking grown-ups movies?
Oh, that's true. There were a couple of those, weren't there?
Yeah. Bad.
We do need a Little Nicky too.
Oh my God. Part 1 was so bad.
Well, talk about a cash in, like going, I'm getting kind of old. I could use some more cash. How about Happy Gilmore 2?
I think I'd rather see a Joe Dirt 2 than a Happy Gilmore 2.
I think there was a Joe Dirt 2.
With Spade?
I think it was not too long ago that he came back and did an older Joe Dirt. Check me on that.
Oh, I will. Trust me.
That could be a surprise game. Sequels you didn't know were made. Oh, we already did that one? How about we just do every episode over that we've done so far?
We're going to do a director's cut of every single episode. Now in high def. Are you shitting me? Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser, released in 2015.
2015. I do remember it coming out.
So you know what? Now that I see that this exists, I immediately redact my last statement that I would rather see a Joe Dirt 2 than a Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah, I can't remember Joe Dirt 2 being any good.
I'm sure Christopher Walken didn't reprise his role.
I don't think so.
He was one of my favorite parts of part 1.
Do it again. I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
The only one of those people that I remember ever doing a sequel to their movies, other than now that we're talking about Joe Dirt, was I remember Rob Schneider had one.
Oh, Deuce Bigelow?
Yeah, he did a sequel to that. I remember
that was funny.
Yeah, they were both good. They were both funny.
He's getting booed off stage nowadays.
I heard people walk out and he goes, well, that means I'm doing something right. I'm like, really? That to me seems you're doing something wrong. How do you make money when people are just walking out all the time?
You know what? Forget Alicia. Forget Pink. Why is Rob Schneider so angry? Is it the face?
The punchable face?
The punchable face? Is he mad at God?
I mean, he had a decent career. It may have died.
Yeah.
But yeah, why are you so angry?
He did more with that face than you legally should have been allowed to do. Says the guy on the radio.
Yeah, says us. Well, I'm not used to calling this Beetlejuice yet. To me, it's still Beetlejuice 2.
It will always be Beetlejuice 2.
But Beetlejuice producers and Tim Burton haven't discussed Beetlejuice 3 yet. So they're doing the smart thing here.
The only reason to change the name to Beetlejuice is so that you can come out with Beetlejuice.
Right.
And again, it's really laying the groundwork for something that could be a complete fucking turd because they did it before we saw the box office results of this new movie.
I heard that, talking a lot about Michael Keaton today. Michael Keaton coming back, I heard he's like, I want less Beetlejuice in it, and I want to have Beetlejuice be completely non-PC. So I don't know what he's thinking there, but he had a feeling that Beetlejuice shouldn't be as prominent in this one. Really?
When was Beetlejuice ever PC besides that fucking cartoon they never should have came out with?
Oh, I remember that cartoon.
Yeah.
I kind of like that cartoon.
I did like that cartoon.
Yeah, they turned Beetlejuice from like a bad dude to like a funny good guy who would run around with Winona Ryder's cartoon character.
Yeah, they were like best friends.
Yeah.
But like Beetlejuice
totally.
as a character in the movies never should have been PC.
Right. Well, I'm glad they're keeping him the same in today's climate.
So the only thing I can say is like, was that a request that he made because he sees the way things are going nowadays and he's like, hey, look, I'll be him again, but don't you dare try and clean him the fuck up?
Yeah, and maybe we're reading too far into this because this guy doesn't even like to be interviewed. You know what I mean? He probably said it in passing, and I read something that totally blows it out of proportion.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Oh, that Beetlejuice cartoon. I really did like that Beetlejuice cartoon. Forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this thing's going to flop or what. I mean, it's hard to believe that Beetlejuice 2 would flop, but kind of hard to believe Ghostbusters 2 would flop, and Ghostbusters 3 and 4 and 5 and all these movies that are coming out now, they're terrible. So I'm scared for Beetlejuice.
I mean, the good thing about it is that it has Jenna Ortega involved with it. She's doing good things. Winona Ryder, not as good, but even, we're talking about Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton stuff is generally good. I mean, I can't think of anything in the past 5 years that Michael Keaton did that was like, yep, probably shouldn't have done that. Am I missing something?
RoboCop. He did that RoboCop remake. That sucked.
Oh, I didn't see that. But he was in that Birdman.
Yeah, it was really good.
Played
really
the Vulture in that one Spider-Man, which, I mean, he was a good villain as Vulture.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the McDonald's movie where he played?
Oh, yeah, he plays Roy Kroc.
Was that good?
It was good. As far as like biopics go, it was good.
Well, speaking of actors that we love, wouldn't you love to see Tim Curry in a movie again?
Present day Tim Curry or some kind of AI, or what are we talking about here?
Present day Tim Curry.
He's not doing good.
But he's in a movie.
Voice acting?
Nope.
What is happening?
Tim Curry returns to the big screen in horror movie Stream. All right, let me read this.
That?
The veteran actor will return to the big screen as a character in the horror film Stream, which is opening Wednesday in select theaters. It will be his first feature film role since the 2010 comedy Burke and Hare. Never heard of that.
Nope.
Even though he has worked on many animated projects as a voice actor since then. He also appeared in the 2016 television film remake of the Rocky Horror Picture Show on Fox. Oh, I forgot all about that.
He played the narrator.
Oof. But yeah, I guess that was the last on-screen appearance, and now he's decided to come back and do a horror movie.
What's Stream about? Does it say anything in there about this new horror movie?
I didn't research it. No, it didn't say anything about the movie in the article.
I do not fault you for not researching a horror movie. There's usually the plot is not deep enough to get your socks wet.
Yeah, no, they're really not anymore, are they? So we'll get to see him again. I remember seeing him in Rocky Horror in that TV thing because I watched it to see him because I'm such a fan. And I was like, ooh, you're not looking very good. And that was, what I say, 2014?
2014. That's when Fox was doing all those like live recording things.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's working, but a lot of times it's one of those things where you see somebody and you feel bad for them. I don't want it to become that.
Right. Me neither. That's always awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, I always hate when you see like the actors who, what's the guy from, oh, damn it, help me with this. He was in, he's the guy who was cutting off the ear in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, I said his name was Ray Liotta. Not Ray Liotta. Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen. He was I got a buddy who made a movie and they called Michael Madsen and paid him like a couple bucks to come and do the movie. And it's such a shit movie. And to see like this great actor doing a shit movie and just not doing it well because there's no way you could be good in a shit movie. If it's a shit movie,
it's a shit movie.
Everybody sucks in it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this is hard to watch. This is so sad. He just got in trouble for something. I saw him in the news.
I saw that too.
Domestic violence, I think.
I think you're right.
But Tim Curry, I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know. This might be a movie I got to see because I just got to see how they do it.
Yeah, when we did our Tim Curry focused episode, I really thought that may have been like I thought we saw all we were ever going to see of Tim Curry.
Now we have to do another episode.
No, I'm not going to go back and do a whole other recap, but I don't know. I hope for the best. That's all I'm going to say.
Me too.
I wish the best for him.
You said it the way I was thinking, but I couldn't formulate the words. Like, I just don't want it to embarrass him.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I like some people, you picture them riding off into the sunset and like their legacy's set and they did what they did. And anything else is just going to tarnish that star. But maybe not. Who the fuck knows?
Only time will tell. We'll see. I'm going to watch that movie. Speaking of horror movies, the Crystal Lake movie we were talking about.
Oh, the series. Yeah.
So I didn't catch this. Apparently it died. It died on the vine.
Really?
But now it's back. So A24 was going to make it. It was a prequel.
We talked about A24. You asked me if I knew what A24 was, and we were talking about that. Is A24 still making it in the revival?
That's what it says here. Jason is back on. Crystal Lake was ordered to series at Peacock in 2022. And for a while, Brian Fuller was attached to the project as showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Barely 3 months ago, though, the Star Trek Discovery co-creator and Hannibal creator was out as showrunner, stating that A24 has elected to go a different way with the material. And it talks about this guy, Kane, who is now the new showrunner. Do I have his name in here? I only put Kane. Not Kane Hodder, the guy that played Jason. So with Kane's hiring, attention can now shift to bringing the eagerly anticipated horror series to life, and the new showrunner is excited by the prospect. He says, "From the moment I watched Jason Voorhees squeeze a guy's eyeball out of his socket in glorious 3D at the tender age of 8 years old, I knew my creative path was someday destined to converge with the man behind the mask," said Kane regarding his Crystal Lake hiring. "Nothing defined my childhood more than growing up in the golden age of the slasher flick, and nothing's defined the genre more than Friday the 13th. I couldn't be more excited for the opportunity to contribute to a chapter of this iconic franchise, particularly with such fearless partners as Peacock and A24. I love that quote. This guy is like me. He's going in. He remembers it the way I remember it. They're giving him the reins. He might make something I will love.
Yeah.
I always hate when these guys go in and be like, yeah, I'm directing the new Doctor Strange movie. I've never read a comic in my life.
I'm really researching it right now.
Right.
Well, you should have fucking researched it to get that job, not after the fact. I like the fact that he was so impressed upon at the tender age of 8 that it stuck with him. And all I could think while you were reading that is, what are kids today being inspired by? Because there's not much being put out that's inspirational inside Hollywood movies.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about that too. Like my kid, he had SpongeBob. Like that was a revolution.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is why kids now, like, their goal is to become fucking influencers because everything's YouTube.
They're just watching streamers.
Because, yeah, Hollywood's not putting out anybody that's like inspirational or that like leaves a lasting image, like fucking Jason popping out that guy's eye.
I know that scene
I know
very
exactly.
well.
As you were reading that, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that.
I always tell people too when they come into the house, like right behind me, I got these, props from the movies and stuff, these horror movie stuff. And it's all the 80s horror movie stuff. It's all the slasher shit that could never be real. And at the end, I always say this, at the end of the movies from the 80s, they were revenge flicks. They were the bully gets his ass kicked at the end.
Sure.
And now the kids are watching murder porn, just murder porn.
Yeah.
When somebody squeezes somebody's eyeball out, like that can't really happen. It's fantasy. It's silly 80s gross out humor, really, is what these Jason movies and Freddy movies were.
Yeah.
But now it's like, man, the kids are growing up on some real serious hardcore shit.
Freddy movies were even more ridiculous and comedic with the death scenes.
Yeah.
Just because the one-liners you throw in there. Like, Jason was always more menacing because he was just a silent killer. But Freddy would always throw the fucking zinger in there.
Yeah. Right. He comes out of a TV, picks the girl up with arms coming out of the TV.
Yeah.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
And pulls her head into the TV. So good. So good. So I'm excited. I want to see what they do with Jason. I really do. I'm a huge fan of Friday the 13th.
How graphic does Peacock get with their programming?
I don't know. And the thing is, they better not get super gory because they never were.
I would like it to be more suspense. Absolutely.
The most gore you would have then would be like a really fake looking eyeball getting like pressed out, but you never got like really, really realistic gore. You got completely silly gore.
I don't know. You mentioned Kevin Bacon getting stabbed through the throat in part 1. That got pretty bloody.
Yeah, that actually looked kind of real.
It did.
But like there's a scene where Jason goes to the girl, she's hiding in a sleeping bag and picks up the sleeping bag and beats the girl against a tree. Like that's just hysterical.
That was a good scene.
I want to see that in the new Peacock show. Last new Peacock show I think I watched was
Tulsa Kings?
No, it was that Ted show.
I forgot Ted had a TV show.
It was a few episodes, and I was always wondering, are they going to make another? But now I've forgotten.
Oh, like the whole season was only a few episodes?
It didn't seem like a lot. I remember kind of binging it in an afternoon or an evening, rather.
I don't have Peacock.
Let me see your Peacock. Cock.
Your peacock.
What?
Your peacock.
Katy Perry song.
Your peacock.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Bill. Time to wrap this the fuck up.
Hold on, let me let me refer to my list. Catherine Elizabeth Hudson.
Is that her name?
That's Katy Perry. There we go. She was on the list. So that new Crow movie we were talking about is coming out.
Yeah, okay.
The Crow reboot banned real guns after Brandon Lee's death on the original film set and because of the Rust tragedy that we were just, talking about.
That sounds to be in good taste.
So I'm thinking, why doesn't everybody ban? Why not have prop guns? Everything is props. Everything is phony in Hollywood.
Everything's CGI.
Why are they taking real guns?
Why have blanks?
Get a black water pistol. We won't know the difference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Have a wooden fucking dummy gun.
Yeah. Gotta be real.
Why have something that can like pump out a deadly projectile?
I've seen some toy guns from like Kmart that look just fine. And, if you're moving them around real fast in a movie. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting to me. We're not going to use real guns. Well, why would you ever?
And I can see in the filming, like the set of The Crow, at least in past Crows, have always been so fucking dark you can barely see what's going on anyway.
Yeah.
So why not?
Right. Yeah, I'm a photographer. Like taking pictures of a black gun in a setting that's already black. Like, trust me, you're not getting enough detail out of this weapon. That if it were a toy, you'd know the difference.
And I watch prop makers on YouTube. There's like a lot of videos out there of crafts and people that like make the guy from Mythbusters, I forget what his name is.
Adam Savage.
Adam Savage. He will make film realistic props, guns, weapons, swords, you name it. They're not deadly weapons. They're just like pieces of wood or styrofoam or plastic. And they look just as real as what's on the screen, but you couldn't kill somebody with it if you tried to.
Right.
Why aren't we doing this?
I don't know. I read this headline. I was like, what? We didn't learn from The Crow 1 back in 1994 or 3. When did that come out?
93 sounds right.
Speaking of the 90s, Beastie Boys were big in the 90s.
Love the Beastie Boys. Bigger in the 80s.
Bigger in the 80s. License to Ill.
License to Ill was fantastic. 1998 was their last big one. That's when they had Intergalactic.
Can't remember what their last one was. Did they have any that just kind of petered out that nobody got into?
Paul's Boutique was one that
I mean later on.
Oh, later on? No, not really. I mean, their last big release was that Intergalactic one.
Okay. So Paul's Boutique, we're going to talk about that.
I know this story. I love everything about it, but you go ahead. You have the story.
From the Conan O'Brien podcast?
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
Their gold record.
Yeah, you got it.
So Paul's
All right.
Boutique went gold.
Paul's Boutique went gold. And that's not great because they were like double, triple platinum.
So since Paul's Boutique went gold back when they got this gold record, it has gone platinum in 95 and double platinum in 99.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It took a long time. Paul's Boutique is not a very well regarded Beastie Boys album, but it made double platinum over time.
Which I think is wrong. It's one of my favorites. It's a go-to album for me.
It was a different feel. It wasn't Brass Monkey, and it wasn't Ill Communication that came out later on.
The third one was a big change, too. That was Check Your Head. All of a sudden,
check.
tons more instrumentation. They were listening to like old Motown stuff. They
Yeah.
were inspired. They're a really interesting band.
Love them.
All right, well, let me
Do the story,
We
please.
tickled everybody's ass with the feather. All right, so Beastie Boys dismantled their Paul's Boutique gold record plaque to find it didn't contain their own music. I've always wondered, when you get a gold record or a platinum record, what is that thing?
So, yeah, they're sitting there in a West Hollywood studio or a California recording studio, just smoking weed, getting high as can be. And I think Adam looks up at the album and he's counting the tracks because it's like an album that's framed. And he's like, well, you know, Paul's Boutique had, I think, 9 songs on it. And he's looking at it and he's like, well, Side One only has on 4 tracks. So they get up and they smash the glass and they take it down and they put it on a record player. It's fucking Barry Manilow.
It's not even Barry Manilow. It's like somebody doing piano versions of Barry Manilow.
So they fucking gold dipped the Barry Manilow piano recording, slapped their label on it.
That's hilarious.
Framed it, and he was like, hey, congratulations on Paul's Boutique selling 500,000 copies.
So how many of these gold albums that are hanging on musicians' walls are A, not even their album, and B, whose albums are, like, it's the trash album that the record company made. It was like, we can't sell it. Let's just pay it in gold and give it to the Beastie Boys.
So I think Conan actually asked this question, and their response was like, oh, I'm sure like Donna Summer or somebody big, it's like actually their album, but like, Beastie Boys get no respect. We're going to give you some fucking Barry Manilow piano music.
It's so funny. It's so funny. And only them getting stoned going, wait a minute, let's smash this award, this gold record, and let's play it on a record player.
I love that they just don't give a shit.
I love it too. Because we don't give a shit.
No. It's like the thing I wish I could do, but I don't have a gold album.
All right, 2 more stories. We're going to the world of Disney to end these stories.
Oh.
Or to round out these stories, rather. The Acolyte, Season 2.
You know, you were just saying about how Camp Crystal Lake was canceled and put back on, and I was going to say, well, I know one series that's not coming to Season 2.
Well, the interesting thing is they did announce, like, hey, yeah, this isn't getting a...
right.
They didn't do that for Boba Fett. They didn't do that for some of the other ones. They didn't do it for Obi-Wan.
It's always an open end.
Yeah, so I wonder why they declared, yes, we are not making a Acolyte 2.
Brother Jack said he would love to see more of that Sith guy, and if they just like fucking trash the entire twin story.
I never watched it, so I don't know what you're talking about. But so there was some stuff in it that he wanted to see more of. But
his recommendation was trash the entire main story of this and just show more of the bad guy.
Yeah. Weren't they going to go to Darth Plagueis?
Darth Plagueis made an appearance in that series, yeah.
Oh, right.
So now I did read a story that maybe because they kind of tickled your ass with that feather, that they're just going to do a completely new series with Darth Plagueis in it.
There's a guy that I watch. His name is Doomcock. His name is Doomcock. He wears a mask.
Doomcock, he definitely gets some bad rep out there. He's a fucking naysayer about everything.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, and he's super anti-woke and everything's anti.
He's a dickhead.
So
go ahead.
You never know what to believe. But he was talking about, I hear, and I'll do the Doomcock impression. I hear there's a lot of turmoil over at Disney as they're talking about rebooting the entire Star Wars franchise.
Dude, this guy's been talking about this for fucking ever. And like, the only reason he floats this bullshit is because it's what he banks he is a fucking...
He's a troll.
He's a troll. He's a hate listener. He's a hate watcher. All he wants to do is badmouth shit. I try to not be that dickhead when we do our podcast. I want to keep it more positive. We do shit on some things, but like, I think within good reason. That guy hates on everything. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, he never says anything positive.
I'm the kind of guy, since I straddle the middle. I straddle it, Scott. Straddle. I'm right in the middle of the fence.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll watch Fox News and then I'll watch MSNBC. I'll watch Doomcock and then I'll watch Screen Crush. I'll watch something that is favorable to Disney just because I want the information. But
you don't have to fucking pendulum from one extreme to the next. You can live in the middle. It's a comfortable place to be.
I like to be aware. But yeah,
Okay.
When you get those guys that are just so negative, it's like, dude, how can I trust you? You just want to put out
You know what it
anger.
sounds like to me? You're watching hate. One hates the other, hates the other. You're just going from one extreme to the next.
That could be why I'm so angry.
You're an angry person, Bill.
I know, I am. I really am.
Live in the middle, dude. It's a safe place to be.
I used to, when I was growing up playing hippie music, I was like, I know I'm not a hippie. Like, I'm such a fraud. I'm so angry. And all the other hippies that I'm playing with, they're just so peaceful. They're peaceniks. And I'm like, I hate people. What can I say?
That's okay. I mentioned at the top of the show, I was listening to Bob Marley on the way here. Actually, my songs were on shuffle. It went from 9 Inch Nails to Bob Marley and then back to 9 Inch Nails
All
again.
right.
So I'm not too far off from where you're at.
Blame the 90s. The 90s was like happy song, angry song, happy song, angry song. Just fucked this all up.
Yeah, what can you say, man? Product of our environment.
But rounding out with the Doomcock thing, he was talking about, I guess there's a new cartoon. I guess it's the Lego Star Wars thing that they're putting out. That's what if nothing else in the Star Wars world ever happened? I guess that's the premise of it. Do you know anything about this?
I think it's Lego Master Builder.
Okay.
Like Lego Star Wars Master Builder is what it's called.
So they're kind of rewriting what would happen if Star Wars, the main three, were the only movies and we're going to build a fourth one. Am I getting this right?
I guess it's like a non-canon Lego thing. Like all the Lego stuff's like throwaway Star Wars
Parody,
stories. Yeah, parody more than anything.
So he was talking about it. He's like, yeah, so this is their soft reboot of the entire franchise. I'm like, oh, that's a swing.
I mean, that's almost like saying, what if fucking Deadpool versus Wolverine would be if the MCU never happened?
Right.
Like, it's a dumb conversation. Clickbait dickhead.
I'm all sucked in. He got my clicks. All right, so let's round out with the last story here. I'm so proud of us because when this story, all right, I'm going to be talking about Bo DeMayo. Bo DeMayo.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Bo DeMayo made the X-Men.
Yes.
96, what was it?
97.
And you and I both said it's so weird that they just fired him. They just fired him before the show came out and they didn't say a thing. And you and I on air said, there's more to this.
Absolutely.
We'll find out one day.
Today's that day.
Today is the day. Today is the day. All right. New rumors shed light on egregious sexual misconduct that led to X-Men 97 creators firing. Reporter Jeff Snyder posted a blog with the details he's gathered from sources regarding DeMayo's firing. DeMayo allegedly sent nude and semi-nude photos of himself in sexually suggestive hero poses to several young male staffers working on X-Men 97. So we'll pause there. He's a gay guy. He's really built, right? Yeah. He's got an OnlyFans.
I heard about this.
So
yes.
he's a kind of crazy guy, kind of just an old rock star type of guy. but he's doing these things.
He's a free spirit.
There's the phrase I was digging for, free spirit. DeMeo was asked to stop sending these photos, but he continued. DeMeo also allegedly groped an assistant on multiple occasions. So reporter Jeff Snyder additionally reports that DeMeo was physically and emotionally abusive to the staff. Snyder says that this was also one of the reasons DeMeo was let go from The Witcher. None of this has been confirmed. It should be treated as rumor for the time being. We don't do that. We just assume it's truth.
Yes.
But it does seem to match the vague sexual misconduct allegations that The Hollywood Reporter hinted at in their coverage of Marvel's statement on DeMeo's firing. But DeMeo's lawyer responds. Ooh.
So I thought that this story was in response to DeMeo saying that he was fired because of a post he made in support of Pride Month.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
Yeah, I think this story came out. And the only thing that we should have said back when we said, oh, we'll find out one of these days, is that we're going to find out one of these days and it's going to be juicy. And here we fucking are. We just crossed that threshold.
I thought the lawyer for DeMeo was interesting, what he said.
Go for it.
DeMeo's lawyer responds, having much experience with Disney, the playbook is always the same. Family-friendly on the outside, but secretly attempting to plan illegal, unconscionable items in contracts that silence the truth and stop the employee/customer from asserting basic constitutional rights. As we will explain through detailed examples, which we will roll out in detail one by one, Disney's model is very clear and a repetitive illegal pattern. Once it gets challenged or exposed, the gaslighting and redirection of the blame toward anyone willing to tell the truth starts through an international, well-oiled publicity machine. Bo DeMeo wants nothing from Marvel/Disney except the truth. He will bravely tell the truth. So will I. Stand by. So that's the response to this allegation that's out there now.
Sounds like somebody wants an out-of-court settlement.
I love it. I love it. So juicy.
So I know why this story came out. So they took him off as a credited writer for season 2. And we know he was fired right before season 1 came out, like 2 weeks before X-Men 97 season 1 came out. He already had written stories for X-Men season 2. They took his name off as a credited writer for season 2. He came out saying that he was fired because of, in retaliation for them taking away his writing credit. He says he was fired for a post he made in support of Pride Month, July's Pride Month. And Disney comes back and says, this had nothing to do with Pride Month. This had everything to do with you acting this way. Which I don't care. You can talk about Disney. You can talk about Disney's history of firing people. If you're sending dick pics or nudes and semi-nudes to anybody, Disney has a fucking HR department. You can't do that in any fucking business.
Right. But the lawyer's like, oh, no. None of this.
More to come.
Oh,
Stand by.
This is going to be great.
Oh, my God.
It seems weird to me that what you're saying is he wrote some of the episodes on season 2, but they're not going to put his name in it.
Yeah.
Because they're unhappy with him. But if he did write
he did the work.
He should get a credit.
You'd think.
Where's the WGA there? I mean, shouldn't they be like, hey, you gotta say.
There's always that language inside contracts. It's like any actions or behaviors unbecoming of Disney or as a Disney representative, there's retaliation.
So that's what the lawyer's talking about.
I can't say it's retaliation. There's consequences. I feel like a lot of the people lately that have gotten fired from Disney that are now in lawsuits with Disney, Gina Carano, looking at you, they can never take a step back and see how their actions played a role in this whole thing. It's always big bad Disney picking on them, but they did things.
Right.
Undeniably did things, published things, sent things, apparently. But it's always like, Disney's always bad. Well, yeah, they have a fucking reputation to uphold.
Yeah, I think if I were this guy and I got caught with my pants down,
literally,
I'd probably be like, let me take a fucking couple of years off. Let people forget. Like,
yeah.
We do forget all. What did we? I already forgot the thing we talked about just earlier on this show where we were talking about a person. What the fuck? Who was the person we were just talking about? Who did a thing? I've already forgotten. It's all done. I'd have to go re-listen and editing to even know. My short-term memory is shit.
Wow.
So, I'd be like, let me just hide and hope that most people's short-term memory and long-term memory is shit. And
just fizzles out.
Just let this thing fizzle out. And then I'll kind of work my way back in and nobody will remember my old problems and all that.
That is one benefit of a 15-minute news cycle.
Yeah, well, he wants to fight and be loud.
So does Gina Carano.
Yeah, it's interesting to me.
Let's watch. Well, I mean, more will be revealed, I suppose, as promised here by the lawyer. You know, lawyers never lie.
Never.
Never any gaslighting there.
Well, you can count on us to bring you all the Bo DeMeo news.
When shit hits the fan, did you hear about This Is There? So stay tuned, stand by, and thanks for listening. Tell a friend, keep growing these numbers, and we'll talk to you next week.